We take you inside the Madison County Courthouse in Marshall, North Carolina.
It is.
The person behind the camera identifies himself as DJ Gear. He's not a defendant, just someone looking to record some courthouse video for his online channel that tests the right to record in public places, like police departments and courthouses. But the security officer, Jim Cruzan, has a problem with Gear and his camera.
Sir? You can't have the camera in there. I can't have it in the courtroom. I don't plan on going in the courtroom.
Gear hears the officer, but shows no sign of stopping.
Where are you going? Just walking around the courthouse.
He thought a pocket.
It can.
I said no.
But it can. That's a legal thing, not a personal
I'm
thing.
not going to argue with you.
I don't want to argue with you, brother. I can film.
You're not going to film today.
But I can.
You can, but you're not going to be today.
A second officer decides to take this request up the ladder.
Lady, she going to get somebody. Look.
I will.
She trying to say,
Okay.
She basically trying to.
While she's gone, it allows Gear and Cruzan some time to debate the issue.
Why are you saying I can't film?
We've got children here today.
But they're in public. This is public. Please don't touch me. That's an assault, okay?
Give it to me.
I tell you what, I'm gonna step out here. You put your hands on me. That's an assault. I don't want that to happen, okay? Please.
I don't know what your game is or
I don't want. It's not a game, Officer Cruiser. Can you please call your supervisor? Because if you put your hands on me, that's an
I'm
assault.
not calling a supervisor. I'm in charge here right now.
Can I have a supervisor, please? I don't want to be
You
arguing.
can go up to the sheriff's office. You can talk to the sheriff.
I just
You
want to
just
understand it.
want to start.
No.
That's all you want to do.
Why are you cursing at me, brother?
I'm not cursing at you. I said all you want to do is start.
I'm not
That's all you want.
I just want to be understood.
Oh, I understood.
I just want to be understood. Is it wrong to ask you to understand?
Put it on.
That's why that's how you said
I
it.
don't care. I don't.
All right, I'm just going.
You're not going to go in here and bother
just
people or
gonna-
interrupt this court.
I'm just going to wait for the court to record, okay?
I said you're not going to interrupt this court.
When a black person done threw him
Now you
anyway.
can go
The probably is black person.
outside now.
Here comes the clerk of court.
Oh,
Go.
I seen the he look
I'm
like
waiting on the clerk of court, like I was told.
I
Yeah, he
said
look like
you're
he
not
did.
going to disturb this court.
The other officer, who happens to be Officer Cruzan's wife,
Oh, that's
returns.
his wife that left.
She's with Mark Cody, the court clerk, who has some answers.
Just wait a
She went and
second,
got the
Mark's
clerk.
gonna explain it to him.
Thank you. I just need you to call someone for my safety. He put his hands on me. He told me that this cell phone.
He's the one that goes around making videos.
hush.
He,
Jim, shut up.
you shut your mouth.
Yes, sir.
Oh Lord.
Cody makes the
Son,
decision to
shut the fuck
pull
up.
Gear away from the situation.
You shut your mouth.
Yes, sir.
He
I
told
don't
him
mind
so
talking to you at all.
goddamn much.
Thank you for coming out and talking to me. But this officer here is way out of line.
Let me tell you
Way out of line. And I want someone called on this idiot because he put his hands on me.
As Cody explains the ground rules to Gear, Cruzan makes his way over.
I have to explain to you, brother.
Oh.
Your brother?
Cruzan then fires off some tobacco juice in Gear's
You know
direction.
you lost his job.
You step back here, let me tell you about that, okay?
Tell you something.
What?
Boy, man. Okay.
In this situation, Gear will turn out to be correct. He is allowed to shoot on government property, as long as he's not inside the courtroom.
Nothing to do with
Sir,
it.
right
He
here is a public
was
area.
allowed to do that.
He's welcome as long as he's not disturbing anybody, disturbing the peace.
I don't need your permission. No,
But
I
he is
want to
the-
tell you one more time. I don't
He
need
is
your
the-
permission.
He is the security.
Security, but he's not above the Constitution.
Once Gear makes it through security,
He right about that now.
You messed up, dummy.
Say dummy.
he just records a few minutes of generic video in the courthouse hallway. On the way out, he has a few more words for Cruzan.
Thank you again for your professionalism, all right? You're finna be unemployed.
I would throw him the
Gear's
same thing.
prediction would also come true. After he filed a complaint to the sheriff's office, Cruzan was fired from his job.
Yeah.
According
Yeah,
to
I would-
Cruzan,
he was
he was
fired
told he was
from
fired
his
for
job.
using foul language and because of allegations of civil rights violations made by Gear. The Madison County Sheriff's Department had no official comment. But there's no quit in this lawman. 4 months later, Cruzan announces he's running for sheriff of Madison County.
Oh,
The
Lord.
election will take place in
trying to be
November
the
of
sheriff?
2022.
He won't win that. said
got
that's Grace.
Looks like a
what's going
typical
on?
morning outside the Tulsa County Courthouse in Oklahoma. That is, until this man shows up. To say he's underdressed is an understatement. He's wearing nothing but a shirt, leather harness, and shoes.
This nigga got on some
And
some
to be
skeeters.
clear,
Wait a minute, some
without
leather.
this blur
Wait a minute,
here,
hold on, bro.
You'd see it all.
Now he need to go to jail.
Besides
That's
the
totally
occasional
jail.
glance, there is surprisingly little react. Dressed is an under of 2022.
They say he had what?
Leather.
Looks like a typical morning outside the Tulsa County Courthouse in Oklahoma. That is, until this man shows up. To say he's underdressed is an understatement. He's wearing nothing but a shirt, leather harness, and shoes.
He's gay.
And
Also,
to
he
be
ain't got
clear,
nothing on under that.
without
He's
this
gay.
blur
He's
here,
trying to set
you'd
himself
see
up
it all.
like that. He just want attention. That's what
Besides the
he's
occasional
having.
glance, there is surprisingly little
He put up in
reaction
a Porsche.
until he gets to the security checkpoint, where he's immediately arrested and taken
They
into
arrested
custody.
his ass right when he was.
Brian
Yeah,
Edward
they-
Johnson is
yeah,
booked
man.
into jail on a complaint of indecent exposure.
That's it.
He's later released after posting $2,000 bond. So why did 55-year-old Johnson show his 55-year-old Johnson? Believe
I
it or
wanna know
not,
this.
he says it was all part of a dare. Next time maybe he should go for the truth and nothing but.
Advertising on YouTube helps me reach engaged customers like Jenna, who's been searching for landscapers on
Motherfucker.
He got a bracelet.
We're off now to Raleigh, North Carolina, and the Wake County Courthouse. Visitors, attorneys, and employees of the court are entering the building and going through the main security checkpoint.
What's going on here? What you doing?
Rubbing steel.
Watch closely as this man picks up his personal belongings from the container. Whoops.
Whoop. He dropped something.
He has no idea he just dropped his wallet, and now he heads to the elevators. It's not until he attempts to pay a court research fee on another floor that he realizes his wallet is missing.
What?
Inside is $1,600 in cash.
Whoa! I picked it up.
Fortunately for him, someone returns the wallet to another security checkpoint in the building later that day. Unfortunately for him, it's missing the cash. So security does some sleuthing.
Oh, got him. Got y'all.
The girl got it.
Got y'all. Right. Yep.
It's just
Moments
like that
after he drops his wallet, this gentleman makes his way
White
through
man with a
security
suit.
and apparently becomes aware of the situation.
Well, look at this. And he's a lawyer. Must be. Ain't that dirty?
We picked it right up.
He and the wallet head to the elevators, just missing the wallet's owner. It looks like he's checking out the contents. He goes up to the 4th floor. A short time later, he's back in an elevator. You can see what looks like the wallet here in his folder. He gets off on the 1st floor and turns the wallet into security, minus the cash. He tells them he found the wallet in a bathroom. Security's able to track him down and arrest him in court. What was he doing in court? Defending someone. Because he is a defense attorney.
That's what I'm
He's
saying.
convicted of misdemeanor larceny, and as a result, he's disbarred, fired from his job, no longer allowed to practice law in the state of North Carolina. Arrangements are made to pay back the $1,600 to its rightful owner.
Shame.
Meet the man in the fur
The
cap,
big dummy.
21-year-old Robert
this guy.
Peterson. He's the person filming this footage as he enters the Kootenai County Courthouse in Idaho.
That has to go through the X-ray machine if you want to come in this building.
Peterson is a hearing for a minor traffic infraction,
They told him he
riding his
gotta go
bicycle
through
at
the
night
X-ray to
without
come
a
in the
light.
building, right? So what he
But
got
from the
up there
moment he
and did?
steps inside the door, it's clear this won't be a typical security check.
And I'd just like to know where your warrant is.
I don't need
It's
a warrant.
clearly posted on the entrance building.
What? Clearly posted that I have to forfeit my right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure?
Man, you know better.
Yeah, every person is. I'm not a person. I'm
You
a
know
man.
you got that dope on you, man.
And
Come
more
on, man. Why you
specifically,
take that
a
shit to cut
free
high?
man. Peterson considers himself a sovereign citizen.
I'm not subject to your jurisdiction, and the court has already confirmed that. I'm here for one purpose. All right,
You can submit or you can leave.
that's fine.
I'll
I'll do that, but you
bro.
will
You
be
might want
charged
to
a
leave.
bill.
Charged a bill? Rather than escalating the situation, one of the bailiffs decides to play along.
You will be served a bill. I don't have any weapons. I didn't come here to raise a ruckus.
After clearing security, Peterson finds a seat at the rear of the courtroom and continues filming.
So there are no cameras in the court.
Excuse me?
There are no cameras in the court.
Yeah, there is.
No, you have to put that away.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Under what authority?
You have to have a court order from a judge before you can have a camera in the courtroom.
Okay, well, I'm gonna capture
No, you can't.
this on video.
You gotta turn it off.
It's for both of our protection.
Well, you have to turn it off.
No, thank you.
Okay, man, the man gonna just start doing
Enter
shit.
bailiff number 2.
Man, they better take your dumb ass
Oh,
to
hey,
jail.
here come number two. Number two don't have no understanding.
He ain't got no
Seizing my
understanding.
property,
call number
shouldn't
two.
be I'm not doing anything wrong.
See, number two
I'm
don't
holding
want
you
to
accountable
rap. He
because
don't
you
want to rap.
overstepped
Look
your
at that.
bounds.
Yeah, bro. You need to do what you
The
gotta
bailiffs
do.
then
and get
decide
the
to
fuck up
clear
out
the
of here.
courtroom
That's how
and
he talking.
question
Yeah.
Peterson directly.
Number two said, let's go.
Let's get this shit on.
Look at the door.
What's your
I don't
first
have
and
a
last
last
name,
name.
nigga?
You don't have a last name?
No.
What's your first name?
I don't have a first name either. I've got a name. My name is Robert. You can call me Robert.
As
Oh,
you
you
can
know
see,
that
this
nigga,
bailiff
they
keeps a
got
sense
them
of humor
earpieces
about the
they got on.
situation.
Yeah, he laughing. Cause you know what you
What are you?
do.
Are you
I'm a man.
You're human?
I'm a man, yes.
I see your Idaho state license.
No, I don't have one.
You don't have one?
My person does, but I don't.
My person
With the
does, but I
situation
don't.
seemingly diffused,
Come on in, folks.
the bailiffs usher everyone back into the courtroom. Well, except for one person.
Can't
Excuse
see
me.
the camera.
Excuse me. You're blocking my freedom of movement.
I am.
All right. Well, P. Barnes, you just admitted to me that you're violating my rights.
No, I'm not. You can't come in with the camera.
He did
Well, you're
admit,
violating my rights.
He did
And this is
say,
also
yeah,
freedom of
he
the
did
press.
From behind you.
This is also freedom of the press. I mean, I don't know what the hell law book you're reading, man. But it doesn't apply to
yeah,
me.
this nigga
Why are
is
you
not
worried about
press.
cameras? Because you want to do something
Yes.
wrong? Because you want to do something wrong? Because if it's against the rules, that means it's because somebody intends on
After
wronging.
this ad, they finna get off in his ass. So I bet you they finna get off in his ass. They finna teach his ass the real deal.
Somebody
Not to
else
play.
because they're afraid of being held accountable. P. Barnes.
It's a nice speech, but you're still not coming in.
Well,
That boy say that's a nice
please step aside. I'm going in.
No, you're not going in.
Don't touch me.
You're not going in, sir.
Let the record show that you just battered me
Step back.
and you're using.
There it is. There was the taser. It's always that.
After
Oh,
Peterson
you see what you
refuses
see?
to
He
step
pointed
back,
on him. He told him back
Chief
your ass
Bailiff
up.
Pete Barnes fires his taser.
And you're using.
He can hit him with that too.
I'm not doing
He
anything
can hit him
wrong.
with that because he told
Hey,
him to back off.
you know what? You guys are really overstepping your
But
bounds
you gotta
right now.
give time.
Cuffs on him.
No.
Put the cuffs
They
on.
been warned.
What are you arresting
You
me
know
for?
what I'm saying? That's the point.
The answer to
Been
that question? Peterson's charged with 3 counts of battery and 1 count of contempt of court. He would later enter an Alford plea, meaning he didn't admit to committing a crime, but acknowledged there was likely enough evidence to convict him. Jail time was waived as part of the plea deal, and he was ordered to pay a fine for his original charge of riding a bike at night without a light.
Really, bro? You did all that because you rode a
Next,
fucking
we head to
bike without
Muskogee,
a light?
Oklahoma.
What the fuck?
It's
man?
1:45 p.m. Corey Roan has just been ordered into custody. He's been charged with possession of a firearm after a felony conviction, as well as resisting arrest. Roan has a lengthy rap sheet with previous convictions for gun possession, illegal drugs, and escaping from prison. He's in the 3rd floor courtroom, which, based on this footage, does not appear to have much in the way of courtroom security.
Well, he finna buy it. He finna jet.
Yeah, he finna
Roan
try
is
to
speaking
rest.
to his
He finna
attorney
try to rest.
when he apparently decides it's time to go.
Let me tell you something.
Where are you going? Where are you going? Get a deputy, have this guy arrested right now.
Hey, deputy,
Gotta run.
come out this bitch! Come out this
Roan makes a run for it.
He gone.
At least 3 court employees are in pursuit. He heads for the stairs. And reaches the first floor, where he takes off past an empty security desk.
You running the wrong way. Oh, there goes that boy.
With the courthouse exit in his sights, there's just one deputy standing between him and the street.
What's happening to this old
The
ass
Roan,
nigga
who's
got
6'3" and 215 pounds, shows no sign of slowing down. Roan takes the deputy with him, right into the metal detector.
Yeah, hell no.
Roan makes it to the parking lot and escapes.
Oh, he got up out that bitch.
A warrant's immediately issued for his arrest, but a few days later, he turns himself in.
He got away.
He ain't
He's
assault
charged
him.
with
The
escape
deputy
and
grabbed
assault
him.
against the deputy.
He ain't
His
assault
case
him.
is currently pending.
Get the assault. The deputy grabbed him. Hell no.
As for the
Yeah,
officer,
wait, man. Come on, man. Move.
he suffered a gash to his face that required stitches.
Well, he the one caused
Released
that
from the
to himself.
hospital.
Yeah, he held
and
him.
full
I fight
recovery.
that. I might have told you to hold on to me.
Shouldn't have grabbed him.
No, you know you old.
Next, we head to the Kansas County Courthouse in
You're not
Washington State.
built for that.
It's just outside the security desk. The woman seen here is Michelle Flavin.
Look at this girl.
Notice she's carrying a pink box. Don't worry, it's nothing dangerous. Just a birthday cake for her 9-year-old daughter. She's bringing it inside the courthouse because she's afraid if she leaves it in the car, her dog will eat it.
Oh, but
Flavin
why
asks the
fuck you
security
brought the dog?
officer, there in white, to keep an eye on the cake while she meets with her sister inside. Her cake should be fine at a security checkpoint inside a courthouse. A few minutes later, this man, Robert Fredrickson, arrives at the
He
courthouse.
gonna steal the cake.
Fredrickson's here because of an indecent exposure
This
charge.
man been eating
He's
cake.
50 years old.
I know he even steal people shit.
Fredrickson and the woman in front of him send their valuables through the metal detector.
He
Just
been
out of
eating
the
that
frame,
shit.
Fredrickson sees the birthday cake left with the officer. And what does he do?
Pick it.
He puts his hand right in the cake and takes a bite.
Oh no.
A woman notices the shameless act and might be thinking she's being punked. There goes Fredrickson, who appears to be licking his fingers. He heads to the water fountain, probably to wash evidence off his hands. The woman calls over another security officer.
They got him. Oh, he ain't
The
got- he
officer
got
in
green.
white, meanwhile, has eyes on the cake and can see the damage.
Uh-oh. You gotta pay for that, bro. And you gonna pay.
Not only is Fredrickson busted, he's still licking cake from his fingers. The group gathers around the table, and that's when Fredrickson does the inexplicable. He goes back for seconds. The officer in white has seen enough of this frosting-filled crime scene. Fredrickson
killed
and
that
the
dude.
cake are thrown to the ground. A few more guards arrive, and then Fredrickson is arrested. On top of the initial indecent exposure charge he was facing
Now
that
he
day,
got like petty devil.
Fredrickson also picked up another charge of third-degree theft,
Oh
which
yeah,
was
they
the
hit him with
icing
third
on the
degree.
cake.
Because that lady
As for
cake.
Flavin, a local grocery store heard about the incident and provided her with a brand new cake. Thanks for being a fan of Court Cam.
Yeah, that was cool.
Subscribe
Yeah, I
to
like
A&E to
Yeah,
never miss.
That was decent.
Let's see what
That bitch
this
had-
This is Webflow. Meet the design tool from the future, the most powerful visual coding tool.
Sit down and be quiet.
Our first story takes us to Las Vegas, Nevada.
Sound like somebody out
Where
there.
J-
You hear that?
Yeah.
I heard that too. Yeah, what's that? Chico.
You got enough? Who was it? out, fool. What that? Nah, me and my pops doing watching these videos of these dumb motherfuckers in court. Ready?
Yeah.
Judge Douglas Herndon's presiding. The defendant is Gary Walters, who's on parole for various financial crimes. He's in court today over restitution he was ordered to pay as part of his sentence.
I've been making my payments. I've been on Social Security. I've been paying what I can in restitution.
Okay.
All of a sudden, he says, you got to pay $26,000 a month.
As Walters makes his case, there's a man standing a few feet behind him. And the judge takes notice.
You're going to have to go back to the original court and then possibly...
Hey, hold on a second. Who's this guy staring at me over here?
This is Kim Blandino.
I'm a co-plaintiff in the civil case.
Kim Blandino has nothing to do with this criminal case, and he's not even a lawyer. But he is a co-plaintiff in a civil suit that Walters has filed against his former attorney. Blandino has earned a dubious reputation for filing frivolous motions and joining civil suits where he has no affiliation. But Judge Herndon is not about to let Blandino disrupt his courtroom.
Okay, are you an attorney?
No, not.
Then you need to sit down and quit staring at me like somehow you need to talk to me or whatever. Pardon?
Can I make a record?
No.
Okay.
I'm going to make a record about you in a minute, but you need to sit down and be quiet because you're not a plaintiff or a defendant in my criminal case. You're not an attorney. You can't appear in my criminal case and act like an attorney, so sit down and be quiet. Mr. Walters, go ahead.
Walters continues, but when Blandino physically reacts to Judge Herndon's comments, the judge has a few choice words for him in his habit of acting like an attorney.
You know what? Let me tell you something. You want to act like an act like an but I'm telling you, that gets you nowhere in court. And you know what else gets you nowhere in court? Sitting in the audience of a court while a judge is engaging with somebody and shaking your head and being all demonstrative. So get out.
I'm sorry, it was inadvertent.
No, it wasn't inadvertent. Don't give me that. It's not inadvertent. It's never, get out. It's never inadvertent when you come in and act all disrespectful to people.
Blandino exits, but feeling disrespected, he later files a motion to have Judge Herndon disqualified from the case. The motion was denied.
State Nevada versus Kim Dennis Blandino.
18 months later, Blandino's back in court, but this time as a defendant. He's been charged with extortion and is under house arrest. He has a hearing before Judge James Bixler, who's well aware of Blandino's history as a wannabe litigator. Blandino's representing himself, but the court has appointed Steve Alter as co-counsel, which puts Blandino in a combative mood.
Mr. Oliver, will you accept appointment as standby counsel?
I have an objection.
Shut up.
I have a right to object, I believe, Your Honor.
You have the right to get held in contempt of court. That's what's going to happen if you don't shut up.
Him in the court.
I'm not putting up with any crap here today. Your reputation has preceded you. Will you accept appointment on him as standby counsel?
Your Honor, I can. However, Mr. Blandino, after he spoke outside, wanted a little bit of time to speak to me in detail about this case and his desires, and then also to look into my background a little bit before he would agree.
He wanted to interview you?
Yes, sir.
I object to that laughing, Judge.
I object to you. I think the defendant has already categorized himself as a vexatious litigant.
I object.
You object all you want.
Can I make a record?
No.
I've got a motion.
What did I just say? What did I just say? No.
I can't say anything.
No.
Blandino refuses to quit, to the point where others in the courtroom begin reprimanding him.
Shut up. Shut up. You're getting real close to getting remanded.
Blandino finally gets the message and agrees to meet with the court-appointed counsel.
Okay. Bye-bye. Okay.
Okay, thank you. I think you're very impatient, though, sir.
Blandino remained under house arrest for extortion and impersonating a public officer. Next, we're in family court in Las Vegas, Nevada. 26-year-old Monica Contreras is here to vacate a temporary restraining order filed against her by her estranged husband. The routine hearing lasts just a few minutes, and Contreras' 2-year-old daughter joins her just off camera.
So I'm just going to close the case out and dissolve the order.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
But before Contreras is able to leave, courtroom marshal Ron Fox takes her to another room to perform a drug search, while her daughter plays with hearing master Patricia Doninger on the bench. Moments later, Contreras is back in the courtroom, but there's a problem. She begins telling the other courtroom marshal that she wasn't comfortable with how the drug search was performed.
What are you allegating that my officer did?
He said, can I just have you pull up your shirt and show me that there's no drugs in there? I said, well, I really don't think that's a good idea. I think I'd rather have you. I'm just offended that he asked me to do that.
Still searching Contreras' purse, Marshal Fox doesn't like what he's hearing.
Okay, so store stands, handcuffed.
Why
Bring
would I
her
be
in.
handcuffed? Why would I be arrested?
Hold on.
For what, sir?
Hold on.
Okay, why would I be arrested? Can you please tell me?
Turn around, put your hands behind
Can
your
you
back.
please tell me?
Turn around, put your hands
Because of
behind
false
your back.
allegations made against a police officer, so.
What?
Making a false allegation against a police officer? In this context, that wouldn't even be a crime in Clark County.
For what?
Turn around.
Hearing master Patricia Doninger turns her back on the situation.
Please tell
Turn
me.
around, put your hands behind
Can
your
you
back.
please tell me?
Then, without getting any further explanation of the charges, she asked to have Contreras' daughter removed from the courtroom.
Can we do something with a little...
Why would I be arrested though?
If you could call up Child Haven for me.
Child Haven is the county's child protective services facility. In just a matter of minutes, Contreras went from appearing at a routine court hearing to getting arrested, and now having her daughter taken away from her.
You're saying
Do
it.
not turn around, I will also add obstruction.
Okay, stop. What did I do to anyone? Leave me alone, please.
I'm through. Turn around.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
Tell the truth.
I don't want to push charges. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want it to end.
Jimmy, I got court. I still have to do this, so. Arrest her. I take the kid. We're done.
Why would you do that to me, sir?
Because you're making
I'm
false
not making
allegations.
false allegations, sir. Why would you put me in this position? I'm a good person. No, I don't want to deal with this, please. I just want to end it. Okay, it was all lies. It was all lies. It was all lies. It was all lies. Let me go home, please.
So
Why would you be arresting me
on
right
record,
now?
on tape, in the courtroom.
I just want to go home, please.
Miss,
I just want to go home, please.
Sounds like Contreras is going to recant her statement about the marshal's inappropriate handling of the drug search. Or maybe not.
That's what happened. You put me in the room and you asked me to lift up my shirt without a witness. You asked me to lift my shirt without a witness.
As she's handcuffed in front of her young daughter, Contreras singles out hearing master Doninger for seemingly ignoring her pleas for help.
How could you do this to me? How could you watch? How could you watch? You asked me to pull up my shirt. Leave me alone. I don't want to go to jail. I'm just trying to defend myself. He said, can you please pull up your shirt without a witness? He said, can you please pull up your shirt without a witness?
You already lied. It's on record.
Contreras is taken to jail, formally charged with providing false information to a police officer and disturbing the peace. Her daughter's turned over to special services until the girl's father picked her up later that day. 2 months after the incident, Contreras filed a complaint against Marshal Fox, claiming that in addition to improper protocol, The officer also groped her breast and buttocks during the drug search. An investigation by Clark County Internal Affairs would validate her claims. She was later awarded $200,000 in a court settlement. As for those responsible for the courtroom injustice, the perpetrator, Marshal Ron Fox, was fired immediately following the investigation. Marshal James Kenyon was later relieved of his duties, and hearing master Patricia Doninger was out 2 years later after the video went public.
We've all heard of a judge throwing the book at someone for their crimes, but you're about to see a judge who's throwing a book for a whole different reason.
Lawyers and a judge are trying to select a jury, a critical step in ensuring a fair trial. The defendant is Jose Azucena, who's charged with 40 counts of sexual misconduct, including kidnapping and rape of a minor. It's day 2 of jury selection, and Azucena's attorney is interviewing a prospective juror who sits off camera. The judge listens on.
So can you be fair to both sides?
I think I would be biased.
You're off this jury, but you didn't say that yesterday.
It looks like the judge has taken issue with a potential juror.
Well, I said I had
No, listen, what we're not going to have in this jury is people coming in overnight and thinking up and trying to make up now so they can get out of the jury. That's not going to happen, all right? Right? Because if I find that someone said something yesterday under oath and changes it because they're trying to fabricate something to get out of serving on this jury, there's going to be repercussions.
The judge is unsatisfied and demands an explanation.
What's going on here? Tell me what's going on.
I said I had other issues yesterday, and you said you'd get back to me.
All right, so why you got issues? Why can't you're saying that you can't be fair and impartial to both sides? You're going to completely throw out our entire justice system because you don't want to be fair and impartial.
Disgusted with the juror, who happens to be a nurse, the judge throws a book, which turns out to be a pocket-sized version of the U.S. Constitution, against the wall. Things are heating up, so attorneys attempt to intervene.
Your Honor, may we approach? Your Honor, we can't approach. You're not going to be fair and impartial.
But she done messed up a little bit herself.
Like I said, with my nursing history, and I've been involved with child abuse, and I've been involved.
Students with ADHD save 10 hours studying with this Chrome extension. But no.
With incest with young girls that delivered 13 years old, it makes me rather, biased.
Now, you're off this jury. You're off this jury. You're removed. Go home. Right?
The nurse is excused from jury duty, not before the judge gets in one last remark.
I don't like your attitude.
The case against Azucena eventually makes it to trial, and he's found guilty. He's sentenced to life in prison, but that's not where the story ends.
You're saying that you can't be fair and impartial to both sides.
The Nevada Supreme Court overturns the conviction, claiming Judge Scotti created an intimidating environment which tainted the jury panel. Azucena is awarded a new trial and a new judge. Until then, he remained in custody. Although Scotti apologized for the incident, his outburst resulted in ethics charges, courtesy of the Nevada Commission of Judicial Discipline.
You're removed. Go home. Right? I don't like your attitude.
Next, we're in Miami, Florida, where Judge Nusheen Safey is about to recognize a familiar name on her bond hearing docket.
Johnny Ray Smith Jr. Oh my God.
These two have a storied history, and you're gonna hear all about it.
The same charges that same baby mama,
she did the same thing that the wife did. I left the house like you told me.
In a previous domestic case, Smith was convicted of criminal mischief, and Judge Safey advised that he leave the home where he'd been staying with the complainant. In that same case, Smith revealed to the court that he had fathered more than 30 children.
God damn.
And apparently still counting.
Remember she was pregnant and she had another kid, so I'm at 40 now.
And that's your argument? Wait, that's your argument for you want me to let you out?
No, not that. No, listen.
Do you remember remember that birth control lecture I gave you back when you only had 31 kids?
Listen to you, listen. I swear I listen to you. I just moved out. I stay on my own. I got a new girlfriend. That's what she mad about.
I don't blame her.
But listen, I left. I never went back to the house. I never called.
You didn't listen to anything I said.
No, I did. I left. You
but
told me to leave.
Also, no more kids.
Similar to his previous case, Smith's charges today include criminal mischief and burglary related to incidents involving another mother of some of his children.
Your Honor, I was...
Mr. Smith, how about if you be quiet for a minute?
Okay, no problem.
Try doing that for 1 minute, if you can.
All right.
As the judge goes through the case file, a public defender chimes in.
Your Honor's history with Mr. Smith and knowledge of Mr. Smith, as well as the allegations before the court at this point in
Just
time.
make it clear that my history with him is as a judge.
Mr. Smith.
You're not staying there, correct?
I did exactly what you told me. I left. No.
Mr. Smith, just answer
with
yes
2
or no.
kids. Can I put him on a vasectomy?
Please don't do it.
Judge
This
Safety
nigga
doesn't
got
have
40
that kind of
kids.
power, but she can take away his social life by placing him under house arrest using a tracking bracelet.
$1 a day for the bracelet.
You finna do me like that again? That was torture last time.
That nigga said
You're not gonna have to post a bond. You're gonna be on a bracelet.
Thank you.
Before they part ways, the judge also issues Smith a final warning.
If you come back with any other baby mamas, I'm gonna revoke your bond and keep you in jail. Condoms, use them.
Okay.
We're inside the Highland County Courthouse in Greenfield, Ohio. At the edge of the camera's view, deputies are taking 34-year-old Nicholas Garrison into custody. He's been convicted of possession of methamphetamine.
This nigga got dope in
But
the courthouse.
as the deputies are about to find out, he's in possession of another kind of speed. Now he's going,
No.
gone.
Oh.
Been right down.
Let's back things up. Let's see exactly what happened.
Try to dab on that dude, man. He got to be crazy in the motherfucker.
Amphetamine. But as the deputies are about to find out, he's in possession of another kind of speed.
I'll come back. I'm sorry, y'all.
Now he's going, gone. Let's back things up and see exactly what happened here. Watch as Garrison waits to make his break until both deputies have their backs to him. He then splits the 2 officers. And a third is no match for his open court speed. He hits the stairs as Deputy Ben Reno takes a flying leap over the railing to stop him. But Garrison just slips through his fingers and is able to break out of the courthouse and escape
Got
outside.
that bitch on his back.
Yeah.
Look at the other one at the end. I ain't
Nicholas
going down.
Garrison
I'm
would
walking
elude police
slow.
for almost
Fuck all
4
that.
days before being captured. He now faces additional charges for his courtroom breakout. As for Deputy Reno, who took that daring dive into the stairwell, he suffered 4 broken ribs and a minor concussion in his attempt to foil the escape, but eventually made a full recovery.
Okay, is everybody ready to listen to me?
Next, we go to a child custody hearing in Las Vegas, Nevada. The plaintiff is Shelby Bachman, and the defendant, Jonathan King. The couple are arguing over visitation rights for their 2-year-old son, Joseph. The issue is King's unpredictable.
Come on.
Do not move.
Niggas don't do that no more. Why is
The attorneys are Don Prokofius,
like that nigga.
and for the defense, Machancy Kramer.
Because my client is a UPS driver, his schedule though is not a set schedule, it varies. So he has to keep her notified of when his schedule is changing so that she's aware of pickup. She has told him now if he's more than half an hour late, he forfeits his entire weekend and can't see the kid.
Has Joseph gone weekends that he would have expected to see his father without seeing his father?
He has not missed one weekend. Not one.
The threat was made
Not
I didn't
one.
ask you if the threat was made. I asked if it happened. You led me to believe that it was happening.
No.
My client has worked with him at times that it was till Saturday morning that he picked up.
There is a problem here.
After hearing from both sides, Judge Sandra Pomerantz points to the lack of cooperation between the parents.
What I see here is parties not being creative. But these two need to be adult enough to say, okay, this happened, where do we go from here?
But Your Honor, and I agree with you. And so what she's done is on these times where she's worked with him, but then I think it was within the last 2 weekends.
I thought you said you agreed with me.
I do agree with you.
Okay, so listen to me. You're gonna be done with this case when this case is over and these parties are divorced. They'll never be done with this case. Okay? So rather than complaining to me, it's a discussion with Mr. Procopius being creative.
It appears the judge has struck a nerve with the defense.
My client has come up with all kinds of solutions, Your Honor, and it comes down to what Mom wants is what Mom is going to demand.
Okay, I don't buy that.
Well, Your Honor, that's how it is.
What I'm telling you is, have you discussed this issue with Mr. Procopius?
Yes, I have in the hallway.
Okay. And has it been a matter of making demands or saying, what are we going to do?
No, it's a matter of calling my client
Things begin to get personal, and the judge has a few words for Kramer.
I do have experience with you using inappropriate language.
And you know that I would admit it if I had done it. And if I was going to do it, I would have done it to her face.
You know what? You want to be a sailor, fine. Go be a sailor in your private life. But don't be a sailor in my court or in my cases.
I didn't.
Again, I don't judge people with sailor language because I use a little sailor language, but only in my private life, not in my courtroom, not to a litigant, not to an attorney. I don't do that because that's not professional. And ma'am, I warn you, one of these days, the State Bar is going to catch up to that. Because if you read the rules, there is an ethical rule about fairness to opposing counsel.
I know that there are also rules about treating people equally without regard to race, ethnicity, or gender. I find it highly objectionable that anyone complains about my language because I know all kinds of male attorneys who have no problem picking up the phone and screaming cuss words at me. So if I am outside there where my First Amendment rights are in full effect, I will say what I choose to say when I choose to say it, and that is my right in this country.
But after a few minutes of civility, the counselor starts up again.
We've spent, 5-10 minutes talking about nothing that is relevant to this case because I, as a female attorney, am being chastised over language that men feel free to use every single day, and they do.
You are giving me a headache because you're yelling, and I don't like having a headache.
I'm being attacked, Your Honor.
No, you're not. Sit down, counsel. I'm done hearing from you.
Unsatisfied with the parties' solutions, the judge orders an evidentiary hearing, which means the parents will submit evidence against each other and the judge will make a ruling. In a child custody case, it can get ugly.
Your lawyers are going to be painting a picture for me in court. And it's not going to be a great picture of either one of you about the other.
Even after the judge makes her decision, the defense tries one last argument.
Your Honor.
I have nothing more to say, and I want to hear from either one of you. I'm going to set the trial.
I understand that.
So sit down.
The couple's evidentiary hearing is postponed multiple times and it's yet to be heard.
Oh my God, take me home.
We now go to Brimfield Township, Ohio, where County Judge Rebecca Doherty isn't presiding over her courtroom. She's making demands at the local police station.
Do me a favor and have a seat so we can do our job. I'm not going to call anybody yet, okay? We have stuff we have to do.
I'm going to tell you now to call Lieutenant Linford now.
Have a seat.
Call him.
Or I'm going to
now.
put you in the cell.
So why is this judge so aggravated? Let's go back earlier in the night.
Hello?
An officer's body camera records as he approaches an SUV that's crashed off the side of a snow-covered road.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not.
What's going on? Ma'am, you've got vomit down here in your door.
333 deal.
Have you been drinking?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have your ID handy?
I'm Becky Doherty. I'm the judge.
You're a judge?
To be more specific, she is the county's common pleas court judge, 55-year-old Rebecca Doherty.
Kidding me?
Am I kidding about what?
I am absolutely out of my mind.
I'm always shopping the Real Real. They drop over 10,000 new arrivals every day.
Gucci, Rolex.
What?
You're intoxicated.
I am so intoxicated.
The officer's body cam continues to record as the judge is escorted into booking.
Oh my God. Take me home. Okay.
Have a seat.
Let me call Lindbergh.
Have a seat.
No.
Rebecca,
Call.
listen. This whole thing is being recorded. Do not do something you are going to regret tomorrow.
Larry Limbert is actually Major Larry Limbert of the county sheriff's office.
Do me a favor and have a seat so we can do our job. I'm not going to call anybody yet. Okay, we have stuff we have to do. Will you please have a seat? You're trying to walk out the door and you're almost falling down. Can you please have a seat?
I'm not falling down.
Have a seat.
Call Larry Lindbergh.
Rebecca, I will put you in one of the cells.
Okay.
I'm
Call
trying
Larry
really
Lindbergh now.
Have a seat.
Call him now. Call him now.
And that's not the judge's only request.
What can I do for you?
Drink.
Okay.
Water.
We just literally told you 10 seconds ago that we're getting you a drink of water. He's out front right now getting you the glass.
Not 10 seconds ago. I want a drink of water now. Thank you. Call Larry Lindbergh.
I tried him. He didn't answer.
Really?
Do you want the water? The water?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Larry Lindbergh.
Okay.
Larry Lindbergh.
After refusing to take a breathalyzer, Judge Doherty is charged with operating a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol.
Give me my phone so I can make a phone call.
Okay. Your phone is in a puddle of vomit in your car, which is
I
on the
get
side
it.
of... Can I finish? Which is on the side of the road that you crashed into.
Yes.
The tow company is out there trying to get it out. However, it is extremely snowy and slippery out. They are not able to get the vehicle out so far. So your phone is off the table right now. We don't have access to it.
Judge Doherty receives a fine of $1,075 and 180 days in jail, which the presiding judge reduces to $375 and 3 days in jail. Her driver's license is suspended for a year, and she's ordered to complete a driver's intervention program. Meet the man in the fur cap, 21-year-old Robert Peterson. He's the person filming this footage as he enters the Kootenai County Courthouse in Idaho.